I never imagined that my life would change because of a single sentence spoken at a dinner table. It wasn't shouted. It wasn't dramatic. It was calm, almost casual. That made it worse. You should know now, my father said, cutting his food slowly, not even looking at me. When we're gone, you'll get nothing. Not a single euro. The fork slipped from my fingers and hit the plate with a sharp sound. My mother didn't react. She didn't even blink. She kept eating like he had just commented on the weather. I waited for someone to laugh, to say it was a joke, to tell me they were testing me. Nothing came. I was 26 years old. I had done everything right. I studied hard. I worked part-time to pay my own bills. I never asked them for money. I stayed quiet when my younger brother was favored again and again. I believed that one day fairness would show up on its own. That night, it didn't. What do you mean? Nothing? I asked, my voice barely holding together. My father finally looked up. His eyes were cold, calculated, like he had prepared for this moment long ago. You're independent, he said. You don't need help. We've already decided. Everything will go to your brother. Just like that, years of effort erased in a few seconds. I looked at my mother. She avoided my eyes, focused on her plate, her jaw tight. That silence told me more than words ever could. I felt something crack inside me. Not loud, not sudden. Just a slow, painful break. I didn't argue. I didn't beg. I didn't cry in front of them. I stood up quietly, pushed my chair back, and walked to my room like a stranger in my own house. That night, I stared at the ceiling for hours. Every memory replayed in my mind, every birthday where my brother got more. Every time my opinions were dismissed. Every moment I told myself, it's okay, one day they'll see me. They never did, or maybe they never wanted to. The next morning, I packed my bags. I moved into a small apartment on the edge of the city. It was old, noisy, and nothing like the home I grew up in, but it was mine. For the first time, the silence felt honest. Weeks passed. Then months, I built a routine. Work, home, sleep, repeat. I told myself I was done with them. That money didn't matter. That inheritance was just an excuse people used to justify their greed. I believed that. Until the letter arrived. It was waiting for me on the floor when I came home late one evening. Thick envelope. Cream-colored paper. My full name printed neatly across the front, Catherine Muller. The sender was a law firm I didn't recognize. For a moment I thought it was a mistake. Maybe someone else with my name. Maybe an ad, but something about it made my hands shake. I sat down on the floor and opened it slowly. The words didn't make sense at first. Dear Ms. Miller, we are contacting you regarding the estate of your late grandmother. My grandmother. My chest tightened. She had passed away quietly 6 months earlier. A small funeral. No speeches. My parents said there was nothing to discuss. No assets, no will worth mentioning. I kept reading. You have been named the primary beneficiary. Primary. My heart started racing. The room felt too small. The air too thin. The letter went on, formal and calm, completely unaware that my entire world was tilting. A total sum of 3 million euros. I stopped breathing. 3 million. I read the number again and again. My mind refused to accept. It. 3 million euros. Left to me. Not my parents. Not my brother. Me. My hands were trembling so badly. I had to put the paper down. This wasn't just money. This was proof. Proof that someone in my family had seen me. Had trusted me. Had believed I deserved something more than silence and rejection. And proof that my parents had lied. They knew. They had to know. Which meant that dinner. Conversation wasn't honesty. It was cruelty. I laughed then. A short, broken sound that surprised even me. It came from deep inside, mixed with disbelief and something darker. They told me I'd get nothing, they were wrong, but the money wasn't what scared me. What scared me was the question that followed. Why would my parents hide this from me, and what would they do when they found out I knew the truth? The letter included a phone number and an appointment date. I was supposed to meet the lawyer in 3 days. 3 days felt like 3 years. I didn't tell anyone, not a friend, not a coworker. Especially not my family, because a part of me wanted to see how far the lie would go. The night before the meeting, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about my grandmother, about the afternoons I spent with her as a child, the way she used to watch quietly while the rest of the family spoke over me, the way she would squeeze my hand under the table. I always thought it meant nothing. I Was wrong. The lawyer's office was bright and modern. Glass walls. Calm voices. Everything about it felt unreal. The man across from me smiled politely as he slid the documents forward. "There's no mistake," he said gently. "Your grandmother was very clear." Very clear, she anticipated. "Resistance," he continued. "That's why she placed conditions." Conditions. I leaned forward. What kind of conditions? He hesitated for a moment. Conditions that involve your parents. My stomach dropped. That was the moment I understood. This wasn't just an inheritance, Dot, it was a plan. And I was standing right in the middle of it, Dot, as I reached for the papers. My phone vibrated in my bag. A message from my mother. "We need to talk." I stared at the screen. For the first time in my life, I didn't feel small. I felt powerful, and they didn't even know why yet. Asterisk, I didn't reply to my mother's message. Not right away. I slid my phone back into my bag and focused on the papers. In front of me, my hands were steadier than I expected. Inside, something had shifted. A quiet strength. The kind that comes when the truth finally makes sense. The lawyer explained everything slowly, carefully, like he was diffusing something fragile. Dot, my grandmother had updated her will 2 years before she passed. Not quietly. Not secretly. She had informed my parents. She had warned them they didn't take it well. Dot, according to the documents. My parents tried to challenge her decision even before she was gone. They argued that I was ungrateful, too independent, not family-oriented enough. Words I had heard my entire life. Words I had heard my entire life. Just never written so clearly. Dot, my grandmother didn't change a thing. Instead, she added conditions. The money would be released to me in stages. But only after my parents acknowledged the will publicly and signed a statement, confirming that they had deliberately misled me about my inheritance. They had to admit they lied. I felt a strange mix of satisfaction and sadness. Satisfaction because the truth mattered. Sadness because it never should have come to this. "She loved you," the lawyer said quietly, watching my face. "She wanted you protected, and she wanted you prepared." Prepared for what? I didn't ask. I already knew. Family doesn't always fight with raised voices. Sometimes they fight with silence, with secrets, with control. When I stepped outside the office, my phone vibrated again. This time, it was my father. "Come home." The message. "Read. This isn't something to ignore." I smiled. They didn't know what I knew, and that gave me time. I went back to my apartment and locked the door. I sat on the floor with my back against it, breathing slowly, letting everything sink in. 3 million euros. A grandmother who saw through everything. Parents who had chosen deception over honesty. And a choice in front of me. I could confront them immediately. Demand answers. Watch them scramble, or I could wait. I chose to wait. Because lies fall apart faster when you let people add more to them. That evening, I finally replied to my mother. "What do you want to talk about?" Her response came instantly. About the future, about family, about making things right. I almost laughed out. We agreed to meet the next day at their house. Walking back into that place felt different now. The walls looked the same, but the air felt thinner. Like the truth was pressing against every surface, waiting to break through. My brother was there too. Sitting comfortably on the couch, scrolling through his phone like none of this concerned him. My father wasted no time. "We heard you met with a lawyer," he said. "So they did know." I raised an eyebrow. "You hear a lot of things." My mother leaned forward, hands clasped tightly. "Catherine, there's been a misunderstanding." Of course there had. They told me my grandmother had exaggerated, that she had been confused, that the will was outdated, that lawyers often made mistakes. Every sentence was another layer of the same lie. I listened quietly. Then I asked one simple question. "If there's nothing for me, why are you so nervous?" The room went silent. My brother finally looked up. My father's jaw tightened. My mother's eyes flickered. Just for a second. Fear. That was new. They offered compromises next. Promises. Small amounts of money. Support. Conditions tied to obedience. I declined all of it. "I don't need your help," I said calmly. "I just need the truth." They didn't give it, not yet. When I stood up to leave, my father's voice followed me. "You think money will save you," he said. "It won't." I turned back and met his eyes. "I don't think money saves people," I replied. "I think it reveals them." That night, I received an email from the lawyer. My parents had contacted him. They were trying to delay the process, trying to pressure, trying to negotiate, exactly, as my grandmother predicted. And that's when the next twist appeared, attached to. The email was a second document, a private letter, written in my grandmother's handwriting, addressed only to me. I opened it slowly, my heart pounding. Catherine, if you are reading this, it means they are doing exactly what I expected. I swallowed hard. The letter explained everything. Why she watched quietly, why she waited. Why she chose me. She knew that once the money was revealed, my parents would show their true intentions. That they would push harder, lie deeper, and expose themselves. Completely, and she wanted me to see it. With my own eyes. At the bottom of the letter was one final sentence. There is something else they don't know yet. I stared at those words for a long time. Something else. Something bigger. Something that could change everything again. My phone. Buzz. Another message from my father. You're making a mistake. I typed back 4 words. You already did. And for the first time, I wasn't afraid of what came next, because whatever they were hiding, I was about to uncover it. I didn't sleep that night. The words from my grandmother. S letter kept repeating in my mind. There is something else they don't know yet. I read the letter again and again, searching for hidden meaning between the lines. My grandmother had always spoken carefully, choosing her words like pieces on a chessboard. If she said there was more, then there was more. And whatever it was, it scared my parents enough to make them lie to their own daughter. The next morning, I called the lawyer. He didn't sound surprised when I mentioned the letter. She left instructions, he said. But they activate only if certain conditions are met. Which conditions? I asked. If your parents continue to interfere. I let out a slow breath. So, this is a test. In a way, he replied. For them. And for you. I hung up and sat by the window, watching people rush through their normal lives. None of them knew that my family was slowly collapsing under the weight of its own secrets. That afternoon, my brother called me. He never called me. Mom's stressed, he said. Dad's angry. You should just let this go. I asked him a question I had never asked before. Did you know? There was a pause. Too long. Know what? He said. That pause told me everything. He knew something. Maybe not the full truth, but enough. I'm not fighting you, I said calmly. I'm protecting myself. He scoffed. From us? Yes, I replied. From you. He hung up without another word. Later that evening, my mother showed up at my apartment. Unannounced. She stood in the hallway, looking smaller than I remembered, older, tired. I didn't raise you to be like this, she said softly. I stepped aside and let her in. She walked around the apartment, taking it all in like she was searching for something wrong. Something she could point to. This money, she said finally. It's changing you. I smiled sadly. No, it's showing me who you are. She sat down heavily. We did what we thought was best, she said. Your grandmother didn't understand how families work. She understood perfectly, I replied. That's why she didn't trust you. Her face hardened. You think you're smarter than us now, she snapped. Because of a few papers and a number on a page. I leaned forward. I think you lied to me. For years. Her eyes filled with tears, but they didn't move me. She left soon after, slamming the door behind her. The next day, the lawyer called again. They've crossed the line, he said. What did they do? I asked. They filed a legal challenge, claiming you manipulated your grandmother. I laughed. Not because it was funny, but because it was predictable. And now? I asked. No, he said. The final instruction activates. We met the following morning. This time, the office felt heavier, like it was holding its breath. The lawyer slid a new folder across the table. Inside were documents I had never seen before. Business records. Property transfers. Hidden accounts. My grandmother hadn't just left me money. She had left me control. My parents had been managing assets that weren't legally theirs, using my grandmother's name, her reputation, her silence, and she had documented everything. If they challenged the will, those records would be released. Publicly. My chest tightened. This would ruin them. I whispered. The lawyer nodded. Which is why she trusted you to decide. Decide. The word echoed in my mind. I wasn't just inheriting wealth, I was inheriting power. That evening, my father called. Not angry this time. Careful, we can fix this, he said. All of it? How? I asked. By keeping things private. There it was. Fear. I imagined him sitting in his chair, realizing the ground beneath him was no longer solid. You should withdraw the claim, he continued. We'll talk about money later. I closed my eyes. You already did talk about money, I said quietly. You said I'd get nothing. Silence. Then, almost a whisper. You don't know everything. I smiled. I know enough. When I hung up, my hands were shaking, not from fear, from the weight of what I was about to do, because the next move wasn't about revenge. It was about truth. And once truth is released, there's no putting it back. That night, I wrote an email, short, clear. I gave my parents one choice: sign the acknowledgement. Admit the lie, step back. Or face everything my grandmother had prepared. I sent it. Then I waited. Outside. The city lights flickered. Inside, my past and future collided. And I knew one thing for certain. By this time tomorrow, nothing would ever be the same again. The reply came sooner than I expected, not from both of them. Only from my father, one line: you wouldn't dare. I stared at the screen for a long time. He still thought this was a game. A threat, a bluff. He still believed I was the same quiet daughter who backed down when voices got loud, who accepted unfairness to keep the peace. He didn't understand that peace had already been taken from me. I forwarded his message to the lawyer with a single sentence. They. Refuse. That triggered everything, within hours. The process my grandmother designed years ago was moving on its own. Legal notices were prepared. Financial reviews initiated. Quiet inquiries turned into official requests. The kind that don't go away once they start. My parents didn't know yet. Not fully. They would. The next morning, my mother called again. This time, she was crying openly. You're tearing this family apart, she sobbed. People are asking questions. Your uncle called. The bank called. What are you doing? I closed my eyes. I'm telling the truth, I said. For the first time. You think your grandmother would want this? She demanded. Yes, I replied without hesitation. She planned it. That silence was different. Heavy. Final, I went to work that day like everything was normal. Answered emails. Attended meetings. Smiled at coworkers who had no idea my parents' entire world was beginning to crack. At lunch, my phone buzzed nonstop. Missed calls, messages, voicemails I didn't open. By evening, it was everywhere. Not public news. Not headlines, but whispers. Banks freezing accounts temporarily. Business partners asking for clarification. Lawyers advising cooperation. The kind of attention people like my parents feared more than anything. I went home exhausted, but unable to rest. Then came the knock on the door. Hard, repeated. I already knew who it was. My father stood there, breathing heavily, his calm finally gone. What have you done? He demanded. I stepped aside and let him in. He paced the room like a trapped animal. You think you've won? He said. You think money gives you authority? I waited. You've embarrassed us, he continued. Destroyed everything we built. I looked at him steadily. You built it on lies. His face twisted. We did this for the family, he snapped. No, I said quietly. You did it for control. He stopped pacing. For the first time, he looked at me not as his daughter, but as a threat. You won't survive this, he said coldly. People will turn on you. I walked to the table and picked up my phone. I already have, I said. And they already did. Just not the people you expected. I showed him the email confirmations, the signed receipts, the legal steps that were now irreversible. His shoulders dropped. Just slightly, enough for me to see it. Defeat. Double quotes. You could stop this, he said, his voice lower now. Right now, I shook my head. I gave you that chance. He left without another word. That night, my brother texted me. They're saying it's all your fault. I typed back. They always were. He didn't reply over the next few days. The truth unfolded piece by piece, not in dramatic explosions, in quiet confirmations. Documents matched. Timelines aligned. Stories fell apart under simple questions, and every time my parents tried to defend themselves, they contradicted something they had said before. People noticed. The lawyer called me with updates every evening. "They're panicking," he said once. They weren't prepared for this level of detail. My grandmother had been thorough, painfully thorough. I visited her grave that weekend. I stood there for a long time, holding the letter she had written me. "I understand now," I whispered. "All of it?" For the first time, I didn't feel angry. I felt clear. When I returned home, there was an email waiting for me, from my parents' lawyer. They were ready to sign, everything, the acknowledgement, the admission, the withdrawal. But there was one condition. They wanted to meet. One last time, I agreed, we met in a neutral place. A conference room. Cold, bright, unforgiving. They looked smaller than I remembered. Tired, exposed. Papers lay on the table between us, my mother couldn't look at me, my father cleared his throat. "We didn't think you'd go this far," he said. "I didn't think you'd lie that long." I replied, silence, then pens moved, signatures formed, years of manipulation reduced to ink on paper. When it was done, I stood up. "This ends here," I said. "For all of us." My father opened his mouth, then closed it again. There was nothing left to say, as I walked out. I felt lighter, not victorious, free, but freedom always comes with a cost. And I was about to learn what mine would be, because the money was finally mine now, and with it came attention I never asked for, and consequences I never expected. The money arrived quietly, no celebration, no dramatic moment, just a notification from the bank, a number on a screen that didn't feel real even after I stared at it for a long time. 3 million euros. I expected to feel happy, relieved, victorious, instead. I felt watched, not by cameras or people hiding in shadows, but by expectations, by assumptions, by the sudden shift in how the world treated me once it sensed I was no longer vulnerable. It started small. Emails from distant relatives I barely remembered. People who hadn't spoken to me in years suddenly checking in. Old friends suggesting we meet. Business offers that sounded too perfect. And then there were the looks. At work, my manager called me into his office. "I heard things are changing for you," he said carefully. "Nothing that affects my job," I replied. He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. "Of course. Just wanted you to know we value loyalty here." Loyalty. The same word my parents used when they wanted obedience. That was when I realized something important. Money doesn't just reveal family. It reveals everyone. I resigned 2 weeks later, not dramatically, not angrily. I simply left. I needed space to think without people measuring my worth against my bank balance. I rented a small house outside the city. Quiet, trees, distance. For the first time, I had time to sit with everything that had happened. The betrayal, the exposure, the sudden power, and the loneliness that followed. My parents didn't contact me again. Not apologies, not explanations. Just silence. And strangely, I preferred it. One evening, the lawyer called with an update I wasn't expecting. "They're struggling," he said. I didn't ask who. "They lost partners, trust, access." I closed my eyes. I didn't want to ruin them. I said, "I know," he replied, "but consequences don't ask about intentions." That night, I received a message from my brother, a long one. He admitted he knew more than he let on, that he accepted the favoritism, that he believed I would always stay quiet. "I didn't think you'd fight back," he wrote. I stared at the words, then typed my reply slowly. "I didn't either." We didn't speak again after that. Weeks passed. I started building something new, carefully, privately. I invested quietly, supported causes my grandmother cared about, set up protections so no one could ever corner me the way my parents had tried to. And for a while, things felt calm. Too calm. Then came the call from a journalist. "I'm working on a piece about family inheritance disputes," she said. "Your name came up." My heart sank. I said no comment and hung up. But I knew it was out now, the story, not the full truth. Never the full truth, but enough to make people curious, and curiosity attracts judgment. Online, strangers debated my character, my motives, my worth. Some called me greedy, some called me brave, none of them knew me. I shut everything off. Social media, news, noise. Still, the weight lingered. I had won the battle, but I wasn't sure yet what I had lost. One afternoon, while sorting through old documents my grandmother left behind, I found something unexpected. A journal. Her journal. Inside were entries about me, about watching me grow, about fearing what my parents were becoming. And then, near the end, a final entry. If Catherine ever doubts herself, she must remember this. Money was never the gift. Freedom was. I cried then, not loud, not messy, just quietly, because for the first time, I understood. This wasn't revenge. It was release, but release doesn't mean the story is over. It just means the next chapter is yours to write. And mine was about to be tested one last time, because the past doesn't disappear just because you confront it. Sometimes it comes back asking for forgiveness. And sometimes asking for something else. Asterisk. The call came on a quiet morning. I almost didn't answer. The number was familiar, even though I hadn't saved it anymore. My mother. I let it ring until the last second, then picked up. Hello? Her voice was softer than I remembered. Fragile, not the controlled tone she used all my life. Catherine? Please don't hang up. I stayed silent. We need to talk, she said. Not about money. About us. I closed my eyes. Us ended a long time ago, I replied. I know, she whispered. That's why I'm calling now. There was a pause. I could hear her breathing, uneven, nervous. Your father is sick, she said finally. The words landed heavier than I expected. Not because I cared the way a daughter is supposed to, but because the past has a way of pulling at you even when you think you've moved on. What kind of sick? I asked. She told me. I won't repeat it here. Not because it was dramatic, but because it didn't matter. Illness doesn't erase choices. We don't want anything from you, she said quickly, almost desperately. No money, no help. We don't want to leave things like this. Leave things like this, broken, exposed, honest. I agreed to meet her, alone, not out of guilt, out of closure. We met in a small cafe, far from where anyone knew us. She looked older, smaller, like the power she once carried had finally left her shoulders. I failed you, she said without looking up. That was new. Not excuses, not explanations, just truth. I let him decide everything, she continued. I told myself it was easier, that you were strong enough to handle it. I stirred my coffee slowly. You didn't think I deserved honesty, I said. She nodded, tears falling freely now. I didn't think you'd survive it. I looked at her then. I didn't survive it, I said calmly. I grew from it. She reached for my hand. I didn't pull away, but I didn't hold hers either. I don't want forgiveness, she said. I just didn't want to disappear without saying this. I stood up. You don't need my forgiveness, I said. You needed it years ago. What you need now is to live with the truth. I paid for the coffee and walked away. I didn't look back. Later that night, I sat alone in my house, surrounded by quiet I had chosen for myself. I thought about everything. The dinner table, the lie, the letter, the money, the exposure, and the strange peace that followed. I realized something then. Justice doesn't always look like revenge. Sometimes it looks like walking away with your dignity intact. I didn't rebuild my relationship with my parents. I didn't pretend everything was fine. I built something better. A life where no one could silence me. A future where truth mattered more than comfort. And a promise to myself that I would never make someone feel small just to feel powerful. If you're listening to this story right now, remember this. Family can betray you. Money can expose people. But self-respect, that's something no one can take from you unless you give it away. And sometimes the greatest inheritance isn't wealth. It's freedom. If this story moved you, if it made you think, or if it reminded you that standing up for yourself is never wrong, then support this channel. Like the video, Subscribe for more powerful, emotional stories. Comment your thoughts below, I read them. And share this story with someone who needs to hear it today. Your support helps keep these stories alive. And I'll see you in the next one.